Mrs. Savage, what would you say were your general feelings towards matrimony?
Oh, I don't think I have any general feelings towards it.
Would you agree that it is a solemn undertaking in which both partners accept certain responsibilities?
Certainly.
Of course, one could describe a business merger in the same terms, but then marriage is so much more than that. Isn't it, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, yes, indeed. For instance, love comes into it.
Well, yes, perhaps you're right, though perhaps among the rich it's not the most important of considerations.
Well, that's your opinion. It certainly isn't mine.
Well, you're a young woman, Mrs. Savage, and if I may say so, a remarkably attractive one. I'm a little older and possibly more cynical. It seems to me that the rich may be inclined to marry for money and to seek love elsewhere.
I don't think you can generalize.
No, well, let us come from the general to the particular. You've told the court how you met young Mr. Mark Lieberman at a party and struck up a friendship with him.
Yes.
Now, he's a good-looking young man, somewhat younger than yourself.
Yes.
And not particularly well off.
No, as a matter of fact, you always seem to be very much in debt.
Not the sort of person that you would wish to marry.
No.
Indeed, the subject was never raised.
Honestly, I don't think it occurred to either of us.
Certainly not to you, Mrs. Savage, because I have it on the highest authority that when you married again, you intended it to be to a rich old man.
Really, I can't imagine who said that.
You did, Mrs. Savage, in an interview with the Sunday newspaper in 1969. When a woman has wealth and beauty, what are her secret desires?
I think that was the headline. I didn't write it.
Well, let me see. My ambition is to settle down with some lovable and not too frisky millionaire. Did you write that?
I don't think I would have expressed myself in quite such a vulgar way.
Who did write it, then?
The Sunday paper sent a newspaper man round to see me. We talked into a tape recorder. I'm fairly sure I never said anything quite like that.
They put your name on the article as authoress.
Ah, well, they paid me a large sum of money to do that.
Oh, money. Well, perhaps that's why you didn't take legal action against the perpetrators of this lapse of taste.
The money wasn't for me.
Huh?
Well, I agreed to that article being written because I was trying to raise £10,000 for Biafra at the time.
And you didn't mind being made to seem avaricious?
That seemed trivial, seeing what was going on out there.
Well, let us come to the visit you paid to the plaintiff's yacht at Cannes. What do you think was the purpose of that visit?
It was just that Mark was going down there and he asked me if I'd like to go with him.
For any particular reason?
No, I don't think so.
But whatever the motive, it is a fact that within a few days Mr. Lieberman Sr. had fallen in love with you. Rich old Mr. Lieberman, and you were consenting to become his wife.
I think that's rather an offensive way of putting it.
While Mark, his part in the affair completed, was flying back to London with a present from his father of £5,000.
I knew nothing at all about all that.
It rather sounds, doesn't it, like the kind of transaction which is known in the City of London as a takeover bid.
Got that sort of mind, I suppose it would.
My Lord, if my learned friend is suggesting there was some kind of transaction between the father and son in this matter, he should have examined his own client about it.
Yes, it sounds like pure speculation to me, Mr. Fry. You're not suggesting that the defendant was a party to any such agreement?
I stand rebuked, my lord. At all events, when you became engaged, Mr. Lieberman gave you the key to the penthouse at Green Park House.
Yes.
Now, this was a sentimental gesture, was it not? Hardly the sort of action that one would expect from a hard-headed property developer.
My fiancé did behave like that sometimes.
When he was in love, perhaps? It does sound, doesn't it, like the kind of action that would be done by a very foolish, fond old man, as Shakespeare put it.
I don't know how Shakespeare put it, but if Mr. Lieberman made a sentimental gesture, he usually made sure all the legal ends were tied up first.
But he didn't, did he, on this occasion? There was no proper lease or tenancy agreement drawn up.
No.
Didn't that strike you as very unsatisfactory, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, no. And anyway, my solicitor, Mr. Greengrove, said it would be quite in order for the present.
Oh, you mean that in the midst of this whirlwind romantic courtship, you were given time to consult your solicitor?
Well, there's nothing strange in that, it seems to me.
Well, unfortunately, this marriage did not take place because Mr. Lieberman thought, and I put it no higher than that you were cohabiting in the penthouse with his son.
He may have thought so, but he was entirely wrong.
But would you not agree that it was extremely unwise of you to let Mark come up to the flat in the small hours of the morning when you were living there alone with your maid?
I see now that it was, yes. But at the time, I was too tired to think. Look, I'd taken a sleeping pill. All I wanted to do was to get back to bed.
And in the morning, you were feeling somewhat more refreshed.
Oh, a little brighter, yes.
And yet when Mr. Lieberman came into the flat and saw his son cavorting about in the nude in your bedroom and said, "My God, what's he doing here?" you apparently had no explanation to give.
Well, he didn't give me a chance. He didn't want to listen. And anyway, Mark had his shirt and underpants on, for God's sake.
Could it be that you had no explanation to give?
I could have told him the truth, but he went storming out.
A few minutes before that, he had arranged for you to meet him later at the Ritz.
Yes.
But you didn't go there. Why not?
Well, I didn't feel much like discussing all this in public over lunch.
Not even to defend yourself against an unfair accusation.
Not at the Ritz.
So Mr. Lieberman lunched alone, and according to you, got drunk.
Well, I said he sounded drunk on
But
the
you know that
telephone.
Mr. Lieberman never drinks.
Well, I think on this occasion he did.
Yes, well, perhaps you're right, because when a teetotaler drinks, it's usually because he's very upset, isn't it?
Well,
you do agree that he had reason to be upset?
I suppose so.
You suppose so?
Oh, look, you must remember he'd been travelling all night. On any other occasion he might have been surprised to see Mark, but he wouldn't have made all this great big thing about it. Oh, I'm only desperately sorry that it happened when it did.
Sorry for your own sake or for his?
More for his, I think. I do think that one ought to try and see the other person's point of view.
Yes, well, that's a good deal easier, I suppose, when you're occupying the other person's penthouse.
Mr.
However,
Fry,
Mrs.
please
Savage-
confine yourself to questioning the witness.
Oh, thank you, my lord. In the course of the telephone conversation later on, did you use abusive language to Mr. Lieberman?
Fairly abusive, yes.
Did you, in fact, tell him to piss off?
I may have done.
Well, I may be very old-fashioned, Mrs. Savage, but is this really a way a lady expresses herself?
I thought it was rather mild, actually, considering he was trying to throw me out.
So you did say it?
Really, I can't remember.
You've heard the evidence of the detective, Mr. Abbott. That had the ring of truth, did it not? He was, if you remember, somewhat shocked.
Well, that sort of person would be, I suppose.
Did you tell Mr. Lieberman that in order to get you out of Green Park House, he would have to burn the bloody building down?
Quite possibly.
And you believe that after all these acrimonious expressions had been used, the quarrel between you and Mr. Lieberman was no more than a lover's tiff arising out of some stupid misunderstanding?
I still believe that.
Would it surprise you to learn that Mr. Lieberman has now no intention of marrying you, whatever the outcome of this case?
Well, if so, I'd rather he told me so himself. I mean, that would be kinder, wouldn't it? After all, he didn't propose through a third person.
But if you take my word for it that this is his attitude, do you not think it would be more honourable of you to vacate this flat?
No, I don't see why I should suffer because of his unjustified suspicions.
You mean you look upon the penthouse as some sort of consolation prize for having your engagement broken off?
Well, I think I'm entitled to some compensation, don't you? I mean, Mr. Lieberman sold my house. I've nowhere else to live.
Are you saying that your house in Chapel Street was worth the equivalent of £200,000?
I think that figure is exaggerated.
How much is your broken heart worth, Mrs. Savage? 50,000, 100,000? How much did you get from your last husband, the Italian?
I don't see that that has anything to do with it.
How much from the husband before that, the American who
Look,
died?
all I'm saying is that it was Mr. Lieberman who broke the engagement off, not me. Well, if I was bringing an action for breach of promise,
That
I'd
perhaps
have every
happily is
right
no
to-
longer possible. But you've rather changed your attitude, haven't you? A moment ago, you were saying that you still hoped for marriage to Mr. Lieberman if these misunderstandings, as you call them, could be straightened out. Correct me if I'm wrong. But your position now seems to be that you intend to hang on to this picturesque apartment whether you marry Mr. Lieberman or not.
But I think I'm fully justified in doing so. Manny gave me that flat with no string.
That, Mrs. Savage, is a matter for the jury to decide. If they feel that you are totally innocent and blameless, they will no doubt find in your favour. But I must put the other possibility to you, Mrs. Savage, that you and Mark Lieberman were lovers from the first night when you met at the park.
That is not true.
And that when he was unwise enough to introduce you to his father, you at once saw that the older man was the better catch.
No.
He gave you a great quantity of jewels and furs and lodged you in this sumptuous apartment in the expectation of your marriage. But you thought you could do better than that, Mrs. Savage. To use a vulgarism, you thought you could have your cake and eat it. So while taking the father's money, you kept up your sexual association with the son.
That is entirely false.
Thank you, Mrs. Savage. That is all.
When the court resumes its sitting tomorrow, the defence is due to call its final witnesses, Mrs. Savage's maid Florence and Mr. Lieberman's son Mark. The jury will then retire to consider their verdict in the case of Lieberman versus Savage.